Hello everyone, this is Melissa from the Ranting Shop, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Aisha's second live that she did as it pertains to her relationship with Donta. And I'm just gonna summarize a bit of things that we learned about him and their relationship. So first off, we learned that the first thing she started off saying was that Donta was a scary individual and that the women involved with him were scared of him. And we also learned that, remember, in the very beginning of the show, there was this YouTuber that spoke about some information she got of the cast, and she specifically mentions with Donta that he had several assault charges and he has been to jail before. Now, my problem is, I'm not saying that people do not become reformed and people do not change and stuff like that, but if the cast members are saying that the Ready to Love cast, production and behind the scenes people, make sure that they give a thorough background check or have a thorough psych test background check everything before the contestants get on the show. Then why did Donta slip through the cracks? Because someone who's been charged for physically harming people should not be on the show. Just take away the 3 baby mama things. Take away the 3 baby mamas. Somebody that has been in jail for assaulting people should not be on the show. Of course, it depends on the nature of the assault. Like maybe it could have been self-defense, whatever the case may be. But I feel like greater focus should have been placed on those assault cases and exactly the nature of these assault cases. And I don't think he should have been let on the show. Now, a lot of people heard about the 3 baby mamas, and that is the reason why they were like, this is why he should not have been allowed on the show. But apparently he probably talked a very good game for these people to say, okay, let him come on the show. And it seems that Donta is a serial go on these public shows and act like he's a single guy. Because in a clip Aisha showed us, he was on a segment of the Steve Harvey show, where I suppose he was set up with a woman on the show to date. And even when he was on these shows posing like he was single, he had women there who were proudly preparing his clothes and allowing him to go on these dates, which is crazy to me. Even for Ready to Love, Aisha found out that, allegedly, she found out that a woman actually prepared his clothes for him for that particular first episode. So all that is absolutely crazy. It's actually very similar to remember the situation with Alexa and the guy from Field Mob? He did or was doing something very similar in that he had a lot of women, thinking that he was with them, and there was this white woman that he was with, and that white woman believed that what he was doing was acting, and that he was just using the platform for an opportunity to kind of launch his acting career. So these women, thinking that, would give him money, pay for his outfits, and do all these things, thinking that this man is on a show, kissing another woman, saying he wants to marry another woman, but it's just acting. And women are so gullible in these cases because they want so much to be with a man. They want the man, and I just want to be there and help the man. And the whole time the man is just using them for their resources. And people think it's only women that do that. Men do it too. Another case is now we're learning Donta was doing the same thing. Had several different women waiting in the wings for him, seeing him on a show with another woman, kissing another woman, telling another woman that he wants to be with her. And they were completely fine with that. And that's insane to me. But we're going to go into the more details of that later on. So he used to be in prison. He used to be a prisoner. He used to be in jail. And according to Aisha, he actually used to brag about how his inmates will not want to mess with him, because he used to torture his cellmates in a very specific way. And it's something that he did to a lot of his romantic partners. And what Aisha says he did was he would twist their palms, place it behind their backs, and push their bodies forward. And when you do that, it almost felt like it was your arms were being dislocated. So it was very painful. And Aisha mentioned her crying out and telling him, "This hurts, stop it," right? And he persisted, and he just watched them cry and grimace and beg for him to stop, and he laughed. He thought it was funny. And that is somebody that is mentally not a very normal person. It almost seems like the makings of a serial killer. There is almost like a detachment of emotion there. Like, when they start off torturing animals, just seeing the animals in pain and finally killing the animals, that seems similar to what he was doing in the way he was torturing these women. Even when Aisha allegedly told him, "I don't want this. I don't want to see what you do to the prisoners or what you do to the children that you work with," because she mentioned sometimes he dealt with troubled children and sometimes they got out of line and he would do certain things to restrict them. And she was like, she didn't want to see that and he did it anyway. And she had to tell him, you can't do that to somebody who's been in a abusive relationship. That it's very triggering. But I don't think he really cared at all. He's very childish in his thinking, almost kid-like in the way he thinks about things. But then we go to, he has women waiting in the wings, as I said before, and the women were okay with him going on dates, even preparing outfits for him to go on dates on TV with other women. The women are terrified of him. I said that already. He's a narcissist who used silence to punish or train the women. And he tried to do it to Aisha. One time she said they went on a date and he didn't talk. It was very silent. She had to beg him to speak. And that was a way to control the women. Like, look at how you're like begging for me to speak. Look at how you're begging for my attention. Look at how my silence affects you. And that's truly disgusting. And I know that is a narcissistic trait because I listened to a self-proclaimed, he said he was a diagnosed narcissist. And he knows some of the tricks or some of the mind games narcissists play, including silence, the silent treatment, as a way to punish the partners for doing something they didn't want them to do. So that's what he did to her and was trying to do to her. So in the comment section of a previous post that I uploaded, someone was saying, "Oh, please, people already knew he had a fourth child and blah 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 blah." Even Aisha did not know that this man had a fourth child. So I don't know why people are coming in the comment section and coming for me as if I'm the one that's delusional and I'm the one that's out of the loop. All we knew was he had 3 children from 3 different women. That is all that was introduced to the viewers of that show. If you already knew he had a 4th child, that's maybe because you knew some outside information that we didn't all know. Because even Aisha, that was dating him, didn't know he had a 4th child. And apparently, there was also a 5th child on the way. And with the 4th child, he came to her talking about, there's this woman that's claiming that he has this kid by her, and she's persistent that it's his kid, and the kid looks just like me, and I have to do paternity test, and I have to go to, basically giving us a sad story, a roundaway story, a story that never had a conclusion, because he knew that was his child. And he just was trying to prevent Aisha from really getting down to the truth of that situation. So that is absolutely stressful to put a woman, it's a stressful situation to put a woman in, knowing her history. And the most dangerous thing about it is he asked her, what is something that is your worst fear? And she told him, and he basically said, okay, your wish is my command. Your worst fear? I will show you your worst fear. Just completely demonic, completely sinister, completely diabolical in his thinking. He's like, you talking about healing and healed? I'm gonna undo all this healing that you claim to have done. I'm gonna make you go through hell. And he did for 6 months. For 6 months. And what I came to the realization of is he's purposely creating single parent households and treating women like scum. And one of the reasons why I think he's purposely creating single parent households is because it's his way of controlling these women. That's his way of controlling these women and keeping them connected to him. And that is why he kept getting them pregnant. And some women are vulnerable. You give them a kid and they're having to take care of the kid on their own. They're going to go to him for support. They're going to need him for support. And so he can always use their vulnerability for his personal gain. And it's sickening to even think of it that way. He complained about Aisha not cooking for him to his other women. And these other women stupidly said, she's not cooking for you? How terrible. And they cooked for him instead. Imagine that. They were like, wait, Aisha's not cooking for you? I'm going to pick up that slack and cook for you instead. That's crazy. And he used to openly tell them about his relationship with Aisha, and they were completely fine with it. Maybe because partly you are saying, he's just staying with her for the show, or he's just staying with her to stay longer, or to increase his Facebook or Instagram following. And it's truly sickening because he used her. All this talk he is talking about, I saw her and she's a goddess and she's this and she's that. Whole time she was a target for you to use, because you realize that she was the fan favorite and you, for whatever reason, want to launch your acting career. So you decide, let me try to boost up my followers and see how that will go. That's truly disgusting, to use somebody that wasn't in on the usation. Truly, truly disgusting. And she read a couple letters that he wrote for her, and all of it was praising her. Even one message was, I'm happy that you're staying with me. Even though I'm putting you through all these things, I'm happy that you're staying. Almost like a thank you for her sustaining the torture. Oh, you're holding up so well. I'm putting you through the fire. Oh, I'm so happy that you're still here. Craziness. 6 months she stayed with him. And he put her through all this. And the thing about it is, a lot of people are saying, oh, she should have seen the red flags. He had 3 children from 3 different women. That's true. Because even now, she's learning that the 3 women he was with, it wasn't even real relationships that he was in. Because remember, when she came on Little Black Book, she was like, you guys are busy judging Dante. Do you know that all 3 of Dante's children came from 3 relationships? It didn't. The relationships, it wasn't relationships. It was maybe a sexual thing that the women had with Dante, including one of the women allegedly being married. And her husband finding out and she having to maybe get divorced or separated because she cheated on her husband with Dante and created a child out of that. So all the situations he lied about. And that's the thing, like you go on a show and from Aisha's perspective, she assumed that the Ready to Love producers, casting directors would be more meticulous about who they invite on their platform, and she trusted that they did a good job at venting them because she's privy to the venting process. And come to find out, these people dropped a big ball because they got somebody on that show who was the most narcissistic, mentally troubled individual I've ever seen. This person just seems like he revels in torture, in torturing people. He is happy with it. He doesn't look like he's gonna change. Let me tell you something. What I've learned from what Aisha mentioned was that a lot of the women that dealt with Dante and is still dealing with Dante, besides being scared of him, for some reason, keep going back to him. And I feel as if women need to have more self-esteem than that. That is truly disgusting. I think that there is some type of lack somewhere with these women for them to be okay with basically deciding to live in almost like a polygamous situation and being okay with it. I don't know what he has manipulated them with, but it's worked to the extent where they're even preparing this man's clothes for him to go on a dating show and date other women. That's mad. That is mad. All the man has to do is cry to you and say, or according to Aisha, he would cry to her and say, oh, his job trying to fire him. Or he doesn't know why they're trying to fire him. Or he has to move because they want to mess with him. And even to the point where he was asking her to move with him out of country when she doesn't know him or she barely knows him. And she has 2 children where she cannot just uplift her life and just move wherever with a strange man. And a good thing she didn't do that. But I don't think he was necessarily being real with wanting her to move with him. I just think he was just trying to manipulate her to think that the job really was trying to let him go. And he used that tactic on all of his women. What he would do is love bomb them to make them feel like this is what you could get, right? And then he would say he wants his space. And then Aisha would give him his space. And after around 3 days, he would message her again and tell her, oh, it's because my job is stressing me out, and the job wants to fire me, and so on and so forth. So there would be a cycle of love bomb, detach, and then love bomb again. And that is how he was psychologically training her, or attempting to train her to really be at his beck and call. And I'm happy that at least she clocked what he was doing and put an end to it. In this type of situation, there's no such thing as, let me go back and work it out. That doesn't fare well for the victim in that situation. All it does is prove to the man or the narcissist that all my manipulative work is paying off, because look, she's, even through all this, she's coming back to me. And that is insane. What else did we learn? In a sense, Aisha was kind of the perfect victim, because just her willingness to accept him with 3 baby mothers when most people wouldn't, I think indicated to him that she's gonna give me more chances than most women would. And so I can put her through things because she's gonna give me a chance. And she did. According to her, they broke up many times and they came back together. All that does is justify to him that, oh, I can put her through some things and she's gonna stick by me. So in a sense, she was the perfect victim. I don't know if Zadia would have had as much patience with him as Aisha did. And that is why he is kind of like 2 and 2 became 4, and he was like, Aisha is the person I should play with. Aisha is the person I should put through this. She's the one that has the higher tolerance for my crap. And she did. Another thing we learned quite early on is that Dante had a Bumble account, and that is how he would get these women. And his name on that Bumble account was allegedly Savion or Savion, not Dante. Even to the point where people would come in Aisha's comment section and tell her that this man's name wasn't Dante, it was Savion. Because they met him and know him as Savion. So even throughout the process, he was dating other people. He was seeing other women, which is insane. And for somebody that allegedly took the process so seriously like Aisha did, I think she would be liable to overlook a lot of things, because she is taking the process seriously. And she thinks that other people are taking the process equally as seriously. It was like she became the perfect victim. Because you're so wrapped up in, oh, let me follow the rules. Let me take this process seriously. Let me do this and that. That you're not thinking that other people have sinister intentions, because you don't. And that is another place where she fell. That is another place where she fell. Those assault records that we learned about from the very beginning of that show, Dante made it a priority to show all those assault cases to Aisha to see if she would still stick around. And so the free baby mama things was the first test to see if she would stick around. And she did. The second test was, okay, let me show her these assault things and let me see if she'll stay. And she did. The third thing, where he tested her to see if she'd stay, was he told her that he had a child on the way. And you know what she did? She said, let's work through it, which is insane. So that's another reason. So you know what? In her attempt to make him feel like, you know what? I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to be there by you. I'm going to stand by you. A lot of people wouldn't give you a chance, but I will, because I'm different and I'm healed and I'm this. He used it to his advantage. And he said, oh, you're gonna stick around. In his mind, he's laughing. The evil laugh. Worst thing you ever did. And he put her through it. Even to the point where she had to take a mental break from him and the torture, the mental torture he was putting her through. That is why all that glitters is not gold. That is why you must not be envious of other people's relationship. That is why we can say that Zadia dodged a bullet. Even when she thought that she didn't, even when she thought that her connection was stolen from her, or her connection was, kind of swept under her feet, it was a blessing. That is why disappointments are blessings. You see all what Aisha had to go through? And women were still coming in this man's inbox talking about, oh, I want to see what you do in bed. It's disgusting. It's crazy. It's insane. And she highlights the craziest story of how he potentially had a fourth child. He mentions the woman basically manipulated him into sleeping with her, and then she went to grab a wet rag to clean him up, sopped up all the gunk off of him, and squeezed it into herself. That's what he said she did. Absolute craziness. And you'd wonder why she'd stay through all these wild and crazy stories. It's because she wanted to help him so bad. Oh, I'm healing. Let me help you heal. That's a trap. And people are saying, oh, Aisha should have known. Yes, she should have. There should have been some intuition kicking in, telling her, wrong move, red flag, red flag. She gave him so many chances. Even when she did see the red flags for herself, she didn't up and leave when she saw the first red flag. She waited until she saw many, many more red flags. She waited for it to affect her to the extent where she went to confront him with another woman before she left. She could have left way sooner. And that's a lesson to women. That's a lesson. When you see that first red flag, leave. Let it go. Because with the Dante situation, what ended up happening was those pinkish flags turned into red flags really quickly. And then it became 3 red flags, then 4 red flags, then 5 red flags. The more persistent you are about, oh, let me help him change, let me help him this, the more he used it to his advantage and said, oh, you want to stick around? I'm going to put you through it. And that is what he did to her. And I just want to say something about that vetting process situation. Between the Field Mob guy and Dante, Own has to just put some more restraints or guidelines on their vetting process because it's clearly not working. It's not that detailed because people are saying, oh, they make us do all these things. It's clearly not enough to strain out all the bad seeds, because how would Dante get in if it was such a extensive vetting process? How would he get in? This man has been to jail for assault many times. Just looking into the nature of the assault would cancel him on the first try. You know what I mean? And then the man from Field Mob, if they vetted him well, they would find out that he was using women and he came on the show to pursue his acting career. And it's actually very scary to think that, okay, I've been dating on my own, it hasn't worked. Let me go on a show where they supposedly vet these people and see if I can get love there. And finding yourself with the same type of man, the same Pookie and Ray Ray that you would get in the ghetto near you. That is sickening and that is sad. And I want us to be better at discerning people and vibes. And that would help us so much more. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about Aisha's second video about what she had to endure with Dante. Like, subscribe, and see you next time for other reviews from the Ranting Shop with me, Melissa. Bye-bye.